Chosen ones, God's people. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about aliens and, the Nephilim, giants and all that. And I'll be talking a little bit about spiritual warfare. Chosen ones, we know that aliens are not real. Aliens are not real. Aliens do not exist, chosen ones. The UFOs and all that stuff, that's not real. You see, chosen ones, we have to remember that Satan is the father of all lies, the father of deception, manipulation, right? Satan is the wolf in sheep clothing. As it says in the Bible, that Satan projects himself as an angel of light. And Lucifer was one of the most beautiful and handsome angels in heaven. Now Lucifer, Satan is not who you think, what you thought Satan was, with the horns and the red, and scary looking. That's not what it is. Lucifer is the opposite. Lucifer is handsome, suit and tie, is good looking, gets all the girls, or, pretty and beautiful, right? See, chosen ones, aliens are not real. And the reason why I say that is because in today's video, I'm going to be explaining why aliens are not real. You see, in the days of Noah, chosen ones, before God sent the flood, there were ancient civilizations on planet Earth. And they were, kingdoms. And this includes the pyramids, and the way that these ancient civilizations were built, they built their buildings, their temples, their cities. They used energy, power source, where they could, they used the water. They used the water system, and you know how airplanes are able to float, to fly in the sky, the helicopters. They had ancient technology where you can actually use energy. They used energy like gravity and and levitation. There was powers from the knowledge and the wisdom from the fallen angels. They used this knowledge from the fallen angels to create weapons, to create civilizations. And at that time, there were the giants, the Nephilim. There were giants. In Greek mythology as well. There were, half animal, half human species. The fallen angels, they gave birth unto the giants, and they gave birth to like warriors. For example, Achilles and Hercules, and I'm pretty sure Zeus is actually Lucifer, but he changed his name to Zeus to portray himself, to make himself look like he was an angel of light, like he was a good guy. But the whole time, Zeus, Satan created his own kingdom, his own world on planet Earth when he was brought down here, when he was casted out of heaven. You know, Zeus deceived the world at that time. Him and all the fallen angels, Poseidon, Apollos, Athena, and all the Greek gods, even all the other, the other gods, the Egyptian gods. They deceived the world. And they made themselves false images, false gods. People worshiped them. The giants, people worshiped them. They feared them. And so, chosen ones, there were real ancient civilizations that existed millions of years ago, chosen ones. Hundreds and thousands of years ago, there were ancient alien, technology, there was real, aliens are not real, UFOs, they're not real, but they had the technology to make things levitate, to make things gravitate, and to make things even disappear. And they made weapons that shoot out lasers, and their weapons were it was out of this world. There was the power and the knowledge from the fallen angels. They taught the humans how to make weapons. They taught the humans how to build ancient civilizations. That they made, things float in the air. They built themselves chariots, and they built themselves, these ancient, vehicles, automobiles. But at that time, in the Bible, it's called chariots with wheels. And that is what they call cars, the cars that we drive now. But in the Bible, it says that they call them chariots. Now, chosen ones, the whole point of me making this video is that I wanted to talk about before God sent the flood, there were dragons at that time. There were ancient creatures, monsters, trolls, and half human and half animal species. And even at that time as well, there were still fallen angels who were still alive. And the Nephilim, the giants, and there were ancient civilizations. And then when they all died, they are still alive. It is because the reason they are still alive is because it's their spirits. Their spirits, they continue to live on in the spirit realm. This is where the spiritual warfare takes place. This is where the Bible tells us to put on the full armor of God, because we are fighting against demonic spirits in the spirit realm. The demonic spirits that we cannot see with our eyes. That's why the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, the rulers, and the powers of the demonic forces. High-ranking kingdom of darkness in the spirit realm. The unseen things that we are not able to see. It's spiritual. That's why when people see things, they see ghosts, they see apparitions, they see UFOs, when they are really seeing, in the corner of the eye, they are actually seeing spirits in the spirit realm, demonic spirits. That's why when people they see UFOs, they see aliens in the sky, it's not aliens. Those are the ancient technology of ancient civilization they used like hundreds and thousands of years ago. The fallen angels, it's their spirits that continue to live on. That is what they are seeing. Aliens are not real. Aliens are actually demons in disguise. Aliens are not real. Not only that, but the U.S. government, they are planning a fake UFO alien invasion. And then you see chosen ones. This world, we have to remember this world belongs to Satan, chosen ones. And Satan has been here for hundreds and thousands of years. Satan uses, people in high power, the government, the authorities, the police, the celebrities, Hollywood. Those are all high-ranking kingdoms of darkness. People are talking about they sold their soul for the money and the fame. It's true. Why do you think they created the Illuminati? The Illuminati is literally sacrifices that are being made to fall to the devil. This is all happening in the spirit realm. We cannot see all these things, we can't see. And so behind the scenes in the spirit realm, Satan is using the people with the higher authority in the government. He's using them to deceive the world that aliens are real. And Satan is is demon possessing the humans here on earth to make them to create a fake UFO alien invasion. And when this happens, people are going to know that when Jesus returns, people are going to think that it was a UFO alien invasion. But what really happened, the truth, is that it was Jesus' second coming. But the government is going to disguise it. The government is going to illuminate and deceive the world. And they're going to say that it was a UFO alien invasion. Not only that, but the government has been deceiving the world by creating UFOs. They already created the UFOs already. They already have the final, the final draft of a UFO alien aircraft. They already created it already. Why do you think they have the military, the Air Force, they have the jets? They fly so fast. The military, the government, they already have weapons that shoot lasers. Even the lightsaber from Star Wars, they already created it already. It's real, it exists. There are weapons that the government is hiding from the world that are classified, that they are hiding from the public. They already created a final image. They already have the final draft of a UFO. And they are using these UFOs as test subjects. And they randomly put the UFOs out into the skies so that people can continue to live in a illusion that aliens are real. Because Satan is using them behind the scenes. Demonic possession. to deceive the world, to make them believe that aliens are real and Jesus is not real. So that when that day comes, when Jesus returns and the people are raptured and half of the world, people disappear out of nowhere, they're going to automatically blame that it was a UFO alien invasion. How else, are you going to explain that, Tell you, chosen ones, man, they were real. Like, even in the movies, they hide it in plain sight. In the movies, the TV shows, they show you that there used to, that there were real civilizations where that things used to float around. That there are mountains that used to float in China. And it was real. Like those things were even weapons. Like the wizard, like the wizard from Lord of the Rings, like the weapons that the fire on her sword, like the Lord of the Rings, like those things were real. The trolls and all that, and Pegasus, the horse that can fly, like those things were real. All those powers that they had millions of years ago, the whole Greek mythology, and even when you see it in the movies too. If you watch Lord of the Rings, you watch all the medieval, dragons and all that stuff, fighting against the ogres, the trolls, the goblins, the orcs, they were real. They were creatures that in medieval times that they went to war against. Like those things were real. And so, chosen ones, now we are getting UFO sightings, and it has always been like that. It has always been like that. Even in the caves, there's been drawings and pictures of these there's pictures of like sightings of UFOs. But what it really is, it was the ancient technology. They used energy. They didn't have, electricity and stuff like that. They used the energy from the universe. And when the flood came, when God sent the flood and killed everybody, drowned everybody, the spirits of all those living beings that used to live on earth, they used to breathe air, they all died, but their spirits continue to live on. Their spirits, where they continue to demonically possess people. And that's why Jesus, right? Jesus, you can cast out demons in the name of Jesus. And you cannot see the demons because the demons are operating in the spirit realm. Chosen ones, all these false gods and Buddha and all that and Hindu gods, all those are all created by the fallen angels. They all died. Everything destroyed in the flood, chosen ones. All the giants, all their bodies are still, they are petrified giants. lying everywhere around the world right now. There are mountains that they look like mountains, but there are petrified giants that when the flood came, they tried to climb onto the mountain. They tried to climb the highest mountain to survive, to live. But God saw them. And God and the sea monsters and the sea creatures, they killed them. They ate their bodies. The sharks came and they finished the job. And look at now, hundreds and thousands of years later. Now look at what's going on. Like 2,000 years later since Jesus' crucifixion. How are we supposed to convince the world and persuade the world that Jesus was real when we weren't alive at that time? 2,000 years ago, we weren't alive at that time. So, people are talking about aliens are real and aliens are not real. What we see, what we see in the skies, and even like on the internet, what we see on the internet, on the social media, those are demonic spirits appear like from the spirit realm. I'm telling you, chosen ones. And not only that, but Satan is using the UFO, the fake UFO alien invasion. And when Jesus returns, Satan is going to have the world deceived to make it look like it was a UFO alien invasion. And if anything, if the government, they have all the money, they have all the power, they have the nukes, the nuclear weapons, they have the military. The government can destroy the world right now if they wanted to. They can send out all their fake UFOs into the world right now and pretend like all they have to do is put on a mask to make themselves look like aliens, but it's actually human beings. The government can unleash those UFOs any minute now. They already have like a military base hidden underground with hundreds and thousands of fake UFOs. And they're all ready to deploy whenever the President of the United States allows them to. Whenever they can deploy those thousands of UFOs into the sky right now. And then, the whole world, they're going to be in shock. They're going to think that aliens are real. Everybody's dying. People are dying. It's going to be all over the news. And you see all these UFOs in the sky. But it is the same technology that they use to build the helicopters, the same technology that they use to build the jets, the boats, the cars. But they formed it in their image on how they placed it, how they've always, what aliens that they actually look like and what UFOs look like. That is how they're going to make it seem. If they ever do launch the thousands of, they have it all hidden. They have it hidden in the oceans too. In the waters. They have like the underground bunkers in the oceans. They have the military, the CIA, all the classified weapons, and it's all built already. All the robots, the high grade weaponry, they have tanks that drive like a freaking Lamborghini. They're fast tanks. They have robots that can shoot and run and kill and destroy. They have the robots. They already created them already. They got the final draft on all their lab work. You know, they hired all the best professionals, and they created all these crazy stuff, all this classified information that it's all hidden from the world, from society and the government. They can go ahead and unleash a whole UFO alien invasion against the world, against the United States. But they're not going to win. The reason why they're not going to win is because if they do launch a UFO alien invasion, that means the whole world is going to know about it. And in other countries they don't have that kind of technology. And then the whole world is going to go and fight against all the fake UFO alien invasion, and then they're gonna win. It's gonna be pretty much like World War III. They're gonna win. They're gonna unmask and reveal the truth behind the scenes, and then they're gonna find out that it was the U.S. government behind the scenes the whole time. The chosen ones, there have been UFO sightings since Abraham Lincoln, since the Civil War, since even since the dinosaurs, even since the medieval times. There have been sightings of these mysterious objects in the skies. But the whole time, those are all sightings of the spiritual beings, demonic spirits in the spirit realm. Those are all the fallen angels. That is what is being seen. So, aliens are not real, chosen ones. Aliens are actually demonic spirits disguising themselves to be these so-called aliens. People have pictures and videos of all these UFO sightings in the sky, but the whole time it's freaking demons and angels in the spirit realm at war with each other. Spiritual warfare. It's demonic spirits. Like I said, there were ancient civilizations. There were creatures and false gods, the fallen angels. They created all these, and when they died in the flood, that's why there's hundreds and thousands of demonic spirits. All these spirits, they all live in the spirit realm. That's why Jesus had to come and sacrifice himself so that these demons can be casted out. And they were real. Like in the movies, where they have powers to like mind control and to levitate, to fly, and gravitation, objects floating in the sky, and it was all energy from the universe. When the angels were cast out of heaven, right, they took their powers with them to planet Earth. And I mean, I could be wrong, but their wings were cut off when they were casted out. And they took their powers with them. They still had their powers. Zeus, right, is the god of lightning, thunder. Poseidon is the god of the ocean, the water. And the god of war, whatever, there's all these Egyptian gods, the god of the sun, the god of, of the land, of the earth, the god of the plants, the trees, the god of, Athena, the god of beauty, and when they all were casted out of heaven, they took their powers with them. And they made themselves images in the likeness of God when they were here on planet Earth. And they died in the flood. And their spirits are still alive. Hundreds and thousands of years later, they are still here. They have been possessing souls. Their souls continue to live on within human beings. For example, when, the Illuminati, right? And I mean, I could be wrong, but Michael Jackson could have been one of the Nephilim spirits. Even, Jim Carrey might have been one of the Nephilim spirits. Even, your favorite actor, your favorite celebrity, Nephilim spirits possessing their souls, using them, the fame, the money. These demonic spirits have been doing this for centuries, for generations. These demonic spirits, they need a body to possess. You see, that's why you have all these demons and all these false gods, and people still worship them. Buddha, the Hindu god, and whatever, Allah, whatever god these people they worship, these are all false gods that died. They all died in the flood, and their spirits continue to live on, and that's why the world has been deceived, because there's so many gods. Egyptian gods, Greek gods, the Mexican, the Catholic churches, the Mother Mary and whatever, all these false religions and fake gods, hundreds of thousands of all these different religions, these were all created by the fallen angels. But the technology that they used to have back in the days of Noah, when the giants were here, the fallen angels used their powers. I'm gonna say it again. The fallen angels, they used their powers, their knowledge, their wisdom from God. They used their powers to create these ancient civilizations. They used their powers that things, objects, they used to float. They used to levitate. And there was really, when they used to build these ancient civilizations, like the technology back then, it was way beyond the technology that we have now. It is literally like, and not only that, but the fallen angels, when they gave birth unto the humans on earth, they gave birth to like reptilians. There were civilizations where there was like these like they were not humans. Like they were like alien-like creatures. And there were multiple civilizations with these reptilians, these lizards, and they walk around like humans, and it's because they were carrying the DNA of the fallen angels. The fallen angels created their own homes here on earth. They created themselves their own image of a god here on earth. That's why, they have aliens and all these Illuminati, all these because there were real ancient civilization. Those things were real. Those reptilians, and they used to speak. They were they were reptilians, but they still speak English. They used to talk. Even the animals used to talk. The animals used to talk. Even in the Bible, there was a donkey that the donkey used to talk. Not only that, but God changed. There was a king, Nebuchadnezzar. He changed him into a creature. Even the serpent that deceived Adam and Eve, the serpent used to have legs, but God took away the legs and made the serpent crawl around on his belly, on his stomach. Chosen ones, man. This ancient civilization that I'm talking about right now, this was millions of years ago. This is crazy, because these spirits, when they died in a flood, they still exist. And now the whole world is affected by these spirits. There are millions of demonic spirits right now. People are possessed by these spirits. And people are giving birth to these spirits. And when I'm telling you that, the sad truth is that, everybody's not human, it's the truth. People are giving birth to demons. Demons are being born every day. People, they commit sexual, fornication, and they give birth to demons. This is exactly the days of Noah. Like it says in the Bible, as in the days of Noah, so it shall be the coming of the Son of Man. We are living in the days of Noah, chosen ones. I'm telling you, man. Why do you think God chose us? Why do you think, people are talking about, or people are making videos all over social media talking about the chosen ones, talking about the last days, talking about Jesus, and talking about, if Jesus wasn't real, right? If Jesus wasn't real, then why are people still talking about Jesus? Why are people still talking about the Bible and this and that? If God was not real, why are people still going to church? Why are people still doing what they do? And that's how you know, chosen ones. That's how you know we're living in the last days. All this knowledge and wisdom that I have, this is all the wisdom of God. This is all the knowledge of God. I am a prophet. I'm telling you, chosen ones, as crazy as this may sound, but they created TV shows that talks about ancient civilizations, that there used to be walking reptilians. There used to be alien-like creatures that used to speak the same language they spoke, they talked. These alien-like creatures, whatever, they were not human or whatever, and they used to live and walk on this earth. They used to live and The fallen angels, they used to freaking like grocery shopping and holding hands, and they used to have families. They used to, go swimming, and they used to do all the things that we do now, that us humans do, that they used to do back in those times, hundreds and thousands of years ago. Those things were real. Not only that, but there is evidence of these so-called ancient civilizations. They're all buried. They're all buried in the mountains, in underground. They're all buried even in the oceans. In the oceans there are cities that they're still there. And they're all buried from the flood. There are cities and skeletons and bones and all these ancient civilizations, all the technology that they used, and they used their powers and things, and when they created these civilizations, when they created these weapons, these objects, they used to float in the sky. The cars that we drive, now, it's on the ground. We drive it on the ground, the surface. And in the movies, like Back to the Future, where they have the floating cars, they estimated and they predicted what the future will look like, the floating cars. Those floating cars, they already created those floating cars already. In those ancient civilizations that I'm talking about, they created them already. They already had a whole city, and they had all these floating cars flying everywhere, chosen ones. It was already created already. They have pictures of these things, and they have the evidence already. And the reason why is because they used the energy from the universe. The fallen angels, they used their powers, supernatural powers. And I'm telling you, chosen ones, man, I know it sounds crazy, yeah, I know, but they said Jesus was crazy in the Bible too. Yeah, the people said that Jesus was demon possessed, that he was mentally unstable and crazy. So if Jesus is crazy, that means I'm crazy too. But I'm telling you, chosen ones, man, whether you believe it or not, like those things that you saw in a movie with the floating stuff, like parts of the earth was floating cities and floating like things they used to gravitate and levitate, and magic powers and stuff like that. Like, yeah, those things, they were real. And a lot of the ancient civilizations, when they were built, they used that technology to help build their civilizations, their cities. But I'm making this video because this is what Holy Spirit wanted me to talk about. That even though I wasn't present at that time, how do I know when I wasn't there? Right? How do we know Jesus was real when we wasn't there? So, chosen ones, man. As crazy as this may seem, but yeah, chosen ones, man. Like, the whole Hercules and the Achilles, Zeus and Poseidon, all those mermaids and dragons and ogres and trolls and Pegasus, the flying horse, and even freaking unicorns and all that crazy stuff. Like, those things were real, chosen ones. Those things were real. But that was millions years ago. So I pray that God may bless this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. This channel is for the chosen ones and the chosen ones only. If you're watching this video and you probably think I'm crazy or whatever, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about. Then this video is not for you. This channel is not for you. This is only for God's people. This is only for the chosen ones, the 144,000. Many are called, but only a few are going to understand what I am talking about. And they have TV shows about these ancient civilizations. They have these TV shows where there used to be people. They were not human beings. They were reptilian-like creatures. They had 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, and a nose and a mouth, but they were not human. And they died. And when they died, their spirits are still alive. That's why when we walk around, chosen ones, everybody's not human, chosen ones. These spirits that died, they continue to demonically possess families and generations and celebrities and people, and thousands of years later. This is the year 2026. I'm telling you, chosen ones, man. I pray that God may bless this video in Jesus' name. Amen.